Hi guys. Tonight was one of the most wild nights I've ever experienced at the food store. So, I have to share this crazy supermarket story with you. Here's what happened. A shady looking figure came into the store around 8 o'clock. He went to the health and beauty aisle, headed straight for the Dove soap, and feverishly grabbed whatever he could, body wash, bars of soap, and threw it all into his bag. What he didn't realize was the manager was watching this from his office on the security camera. So the manager hurried over to the aisle, confronted the thief. Just as the thief was making a run for it, the manager gripped him up in a bear hug and dragged him over to his office with the help of several of my colleagues. Once he got him there, the thief said to the manager, "I'm just trying to feed my family, man. I'm just trying to feed my family." And the manager said to him, "Well, what are you feeding them? Soap?" It was quite the argument. Clearly the manager wasn't buying it. And then my colleague, who runs the front end, was looking into the office as the manager has the thief there. And the thief starts taunting him and cursing him out. And the manager says to him, "If you keep running your mouth, I'm going to pop you in the face." And the guy's like, "You're not man enough. You're not man enough to do that." So the manager says to my colleague, "Leave us alone. Give us some time alone." She knew exactly what he meant, so she closed the door. Several minutes later, she came back because she thought if she left him alone for too long, the thief might wind up dead. So she opens the door, and as the manager turns his head to look at her, he realizes the thief leans in a little. So the manager turns his head again, the thief leans in again. The manager turns his head a third time. The thief bolts out the door. What he doesn't realize is that there are people outside the door. Some of my colleagues who apprehended him in the first place. They go to grab him. He slips away. There's a customer in his way as he heads for my line. He slams into the customer. They go bashing into this soda machine. And all I hear is this loud, thunderous noise. The only way to describe it is it sounded just like a So I turn my head to the right. I see this guy come flying through my line. But there's a shopping cart in the way because I'm bringing up a customer who's now bagging his groceries, thank God, so he's not in the way. And the thief, goes crashing into the cart, and he tries to, just like kind of squirm around it. But in the process, he smashes his hip into the bag rack on the next register. So it slows him down enough for the manager to catch up with him, along with my other colleagues. And next thing I know, the manager has him, he grips him up in a headlock. He flips him over, and in the process, the thief's legs hit the bag rack, which comes crashing to the ground. The guy goes onto the ground. The other people just jump on top of him to keep him still. And he's trying to squirm away, so the manager just grabs him with his, just has him in the headlock. He tightens his grip. I see the guy's face. Next thing I know, the manager's fist, boom, hits the guy right between the eyes. It was just wild. And the guy starts to moan so loudly that it sounds like he's acting. And it's not good acting either. It sounds like really, really fake acting. And it's so theatrical that the customer that he bashed into, hit the soda machine, is mocking him. And he's like, "Oh, what, man? You can't take it? You can't take a little pain?" And the guy on the ground starts to curse him out. And it's funny because the customer he bashed into looked like a bum himself. So these two bums are arguing with each other, and I'm laughing because I'm thinking to myself, this guy who's on the ground in a headlock is arguing with this other guy, and it's just bizarre is the only way to describe it. So a few minutes later, the cops show up, and they zip tie the thief's hands. And the thief is like, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I have asthma, I can't breathe." And they lift him up. They tell him to keep quiet. And he looks at the manager, and he mouths to him, "I'll be back, I'll be back, I'll get you." And the manager says to him, "I've been here 20 years, I'll be here when you come back." And they bring him to the manager's office, they do the paperwork, and the cops walk him out. It was the most wild experience I've ever had at the food store. all the customers were just staring at the situation in awe. The order, I stopped scanning the order, and I just said to the guy, I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't know where we left off because that completely distracted me. And he understood. It was bizarre. Thank God for that cart in that aisle, because if it wasn't there, they probably never would have caught him. Bottom line is, you never know what's going to happen at the food store. So keep it here, and hope to share more interesting stories with you in the future.